I met the defendant in Santa Barbara County Jail.
A romance starts and ends in the slammer.
He said, you know what, I took this ring and I'm really sorry and I'd feel better if I just confess it.
All rise for Judge Joe Brown. Whoa! Experience, knowledge, and a passion for the truth.
I'm protecting womanhood and promoting manhood.
Bringing no-nonsense justice to Americans everywhere.
If you listen, you may learn something.
It's time for Judge Joe.
A woman finds trying to extract money from her ex is like getting a root canal. College student Julie Bilsby is suing her ex-boyfriend for loans and a stolen ring. Defendant Jeremy Millard says his school grant was late and he would never pay that much for dental work. Now it's Joe time.
Let's see, Ms. Bilsby?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're suing someone you style as your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Dullard, and you say that he owes you this because he, shall we say, got a loan from you for school, a loan for emergency dental work, a root canal, for money he took from your home without permission. That's compensation for that loss. And for what it took you to redeem a ring he took from you without permission that he pawned. Okay. So you want $3,119 from him.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Lillard, you say it's not your fault that your school loan, I imagine you were going to pay her back from that, was late, and you would never personally pay that much for a root canal because the tooth could simply have been pulled, and you don't think you owe her anything. All right?
This is true.
That's it. All right. Now, let's see. Ms. Bilsby, where did you meet the defendant?
I met the defendant in Santa Barbara County Jail in the summer of 2008. I had a friend staying with me with her 2 small children, and I would take her to visit her boyfriend in the jail. And he and I visited and became friends, which was not a good idea.
Both of you?
Well, I would come visit.
And you got attracted and you started going back to visiting?
Yes. I was going every Saturday anyway, and so that's how I met him. And we started off as friends, and then about a month in, we decided
he got
that there
out
was
in
more.
October,
yes.
4 years ago, 3.5
3 years ago. And so that was how we met. And I was at a place in my life where I was working on myself, and I was going through a divorce, and he was working on himself, and I thought we had that in common. And that was...
You're only 32 years old.
Yeah.
But you've got 1, 2, 3,
4
4 children, including the youngest 2-year-old with the defendant. What happened? Bad marriage?
No, my ex-husband just decided he wanted somebody who... I had dropped out of school to have children, and he's very successful, and so he's now with someone much more successful and happier. So,
all right, now, what I get here is that you claim you were advised by the defendant that he was to get a $3,000 school grant, and you verified that.
yes.
Now, the money got delayed. So you are going to go get your degree, you need your money, you've got these kids, you've got custody, times are hard, and you loan him $1,290.64 for school and necessary supplies. That's what your documentation shows. Yes?
Yeah, he had promissory note because I had
Then
seen...
there's a promissory note.
I had seen when he had applied for the grant.
Why did you do that?
I did it because I'd seen the printout on the MyQuesta from the junior college that said this is the amount that he is to receive. And so I thought it was definitely... I have a letter...
Don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch.
You're right, Your Honor. I understand that now.
You're counting on him paying you once he gets it. Then we get to the problem. He had a toothache December 3 years ago. So you put up $1,493.48 for an emergency root canal and dental prescriptions.
I took him actually to the free clinic first. They have a Saturday morning.
Yes, and you say he got anxious because he didn't want to wait in line. You say he says there were too many people in line. You say there weren't but three. Two?
He was the third one.
So I have the receipts and the, well,
and my dentist was nice enough.
The detailed report from your dentist relative to the defendant's bill. Now, you had an engagement ring from your ex-husband that he had custom made and designed, yes?
That's correct.
And I imagine he's the one that's been a success in business or whatever his venture is. So what happened to that one?
Well, actually, I didn't know that was missing because I had kept that in a drawer until he was arrested for the other, because I had kept it in a drawer because we have my ex-husband and I have a daughter, and I figured at some point she would want that. It was a very special ring because he designed the whole thing. He saved up all summer to buy it, went down, paid for it. He didn't make a lot of money back then.
So you're going to make it a family heirloom to pass down amongst the female members of the family.
But it wasn't something that I had on me all the time, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. I'm reading the details under your sworn complaint as to where it was, so I understand, and I'm just trying to get you to authenticate what
When he had already been arrested, he called me. He kept calling me from the jail.
Police advised you as to where it was. Is that correct?
He's the one that told me where it was.
It's a pawn shop.
Because he had called me several times from county jail and I wouldn't take the calls, and then finally he said, you need to pick up. And then he said, you know what, I took this ring and I'm really sorry and I'd feel better if I just confessed it. And he also told me he had taken a couple checks, but that was never.
How much did it cost for you to get the ring out of the pawn shop?
I believe it was $61 and some change.
All right, now, there was some cash that you had stowed away, I guess, in the cookie jar. What happened to that? $273?
I had it locked in a toolbox.
What?
I had it locked in a toolbox at my ex-husband's house. The defendant and I had an apartment separate from my children for only 3 weeks, and I would go every day.
You're seeking a total of $3,118.54, and oh, by the way, I guess you've given up on getting child support on the 2-year-old the two of you have together.
That's correct. I'm doing it on my own. I'm much different now, Your Honor, trust me. So this was a big eye-opener for me.
Oh, yeah.
And the last couple of years have been, you know, I got up the next day after he was arrested, and I went to work, and my friend said, why would you do that? And I said, it didn't occur to me to not get up the next day and do what I do. That's what I do. I go to work and I take care of my kids.
Now, let's go to the defendant. Now, sir, I'm looking at this. You say when you got out of the pen, you were only going to stay with the plaintiff for 3 days until you could get to your court-ordered rehabilitation program, right?
This is true.
Why didn't you go?
The Santa Barbara Rescue Mission's got a program, and it's really backed up. So when I got out, you're put on a waiting list. And so that 3 days was automatically going to get turned into a while. So I talked to Ms. Bilsby and tried to work out some type of thing where I can go to school while I'm out in AG living with her, and that never happened. You know, the 2 weeks or however long it was for the school check for the FAFSA to arrive there, it never happened.
Did it ever get there?
Yes, it did. It did get there, but it was just
Pell Grant.
Yes.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
At the time, if I would have known that a root canal with a cap and all that was going to, the total would have been like $2,800, I would have never agreed to that. I would just have the tooth pulled.
And later today,
Mia actually had agreed that she could stay with me, being that she paid half of the rent and half of the utilities. And she also agreed to sign the promissory note that that's what she would do.
It's Joe time after this.
we're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff in this case says she met her new boyfriend when he was behind bars. She says she gave him some money, he stole a ring, she paid for his root canal, and then they had a baby. And he never did pay a thing. Let's see what the judge thinks.
So you say that you got approved and finally received your $3,000 Pell Grant for Cuesta College to begin a new life and work toward an associate degree.
Actually, no, I didn't get the $3,000. It's cut in 2 checks, the FAFSA at the time.
$1,500 each.
Right, 15. So I'd gotten a little under that, and after I found out that she was pregnant and things happened, I am an addict, and I went on a spiral.
You couldn't handle it, so you relapsed.
Yeah.
Now, this time you had a toothache. You say you never would have agreed to pay for an expensive root canal when the tooth could simply have been pulled for much cheaper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, if I would have known that a root canal with a cap and all that was going to, the total would have been like $2,800, I would have never agreed to that. I would just have the tooth pulled.
Okay, now, you didn't get your associate degree.
No.
You don't think you needed a root canal. She imposed on you. and you never got the second chance in life that you wanted, and paying the plaintiff is not your priority. Now, you're getting chumped off by that, so you might put that in your head that you don't want to get chumped off anymore. You might figure out that somewhere along the line you didn't get proper man training, but I think you want to be one, so it's not too late. And you can man up. Now, $3,120 will be your recovery and your costs.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
This courtroom is now in recess.
The relationship started in jail, and that is where it ended, with the defendant arrested again, but not before he took cash and merchandise.